So Arsenal have been pretty strongly linked to Florian Wirtz. How about this from Christian Falk, who of course covers Bayern Munich extensively. He has said that Arsenal are interested in Wirtz, the 21-year-old from Bayer Leverkusen, who has a contract till 2027. Apparently Wirtz wants to leave the club in the summer of 2025, and that they want a transfer fee, Leverkusen, of around 150 million euros. That's so much money. With Bayern, Real Madrid and Man City also interested. Well, why is he 150 million euro player, you ask? A quick glance at FBref stats, which would tell you that according to their numbers across Europe's top 5 leagues, in his position, he ranks really well for things like standard stats, shooting stats, and passing stats. If you want to hit the pause button, have a look at those in more detail, but it's all green. He's clearly a very talented player who's putting up really good numbers, in lots of different phases of the game. But is he a player we need, especially for that price tag? Well, the link is so interesting, but it's come in the week in which Ethan Nwaneri really impressed and got Arsenal fans like me saying he is ready. And if we're talking about having an attacking creative player to step in the absence of Vieira and Smith Rowe, who we let go, the attacking talent we let go, and Nwaneri's really kind of knocking on the door, especially for this Leicester game this weekend. Let's remind ourselves of Nwaneri's numbers against Bolton, where he played 90 minutes, he played the full 90, scoring 2 goals, getting 2 shots from those, scoring 2 goals from 2 shots, 44 touches on the game, a 93% pass accuracy with 2 key passes. The role he played is very much in the areas that Martin Ødegaard plays. Let's have a look at his heat map, shooting from left to right, as you can see, playing in those right areas, but drifting across at times, but crucially, really knitting play together out on the right. I felt this was something he did really, really well, and I don't want it to be underestimated how difficult it can be to slot into Ødegaard's shoes and try and keep everything ticky on that right hand side. Let's just take it to the tactical pad here for a second, where I've got a few Arsenal players in their sort of build up shape here for the first goal, and I've also got a couple of the Bolton players in there, more than a couple, in their defensive shape. Now, the thing I really want to highlight first and foremost is that the principles remain the same all the time for Arsenal. We saw this out in the US. It was something that actually Turkish was making a real point of, that when the academy players stepped in pre-season, it didn't feel like we skipped a beat tactically. And you had these triangles forming, as you can see, for the build-up to this goal. Nwaneri in that kind of central pocket, Saka holding the touchline, and Nichols slightly tucked in like a Ben White would be as Kivior has possession. These triangles are crucial because the more they rotate, the more they alternate, the more you're able to pick the lock of opposition defences. And what I really found impressive was the way that the players that stepped in, especially Nichols and Nwaneri, understood the roles and understood what they needed to do in these particular areas. So, as Kivior has the ball, there is just a slight movement as the ball goes to Nichols from Nwaneri. He's drifted slightly inside, and Saka has started to move central, as Nichols is also going to realise that there is space to attack. Let's play it one more time. Kivior has the ball. It comes out wide to Nichols. Nwaneri's just dropped inside slightly. Saka started to make that run. He gives it to Nwaneri, and Nwaneri recognises their space, and they play the 1-2. It's really, really clever from Arsenal, because what you've ended up with is now the triangle again, in just a different shape and a different setup, but with Nichols attacking the space that Saka vacated, and Nwaneri recognising that, yes, you're a young player, you want to impress, I'm sure there's lots of things he wants to do in the attacking phase, in the attacking little pockets he can get in, but he recognises the best thing to do is actually to drop into the space before finding that 1-2. That little movement takes him in front of the Bolton players. He starts to move behind them, he moves in front, and it gives the room for Saka to attack and then Nichols to go and attack that space. The little triangles of the movement, that might seem like such a simple basic thing, but coming into the team and recognising that you need to drop in and make those little combinations happen in the way Ødegaard does, and understanding how to knit the play, is something that is going to tell Arteta this guy is ready, because ultimately, however talented you are, it's about coming in and understanding the tactics that the Arsenal team need to deploy to go and win games of football. And interestingly, in that move, Rice is actually further up the pitch, so when Nwaneri dropping deep, Rice is able to get forward a little bit and ultimately ends up getting the goal. So really, really good stuff from Nwaneri there, and it's just a little thing along with his 2 goals and all the flair and all the talent he's shown in possession that make you think he's ready to step in and play some Premier League football. I have no doubt about it. But there is a claim for him not playing, and this is where I think there is a real battle for Nwaneri to get into this team. I'll show you what I mean. Here we've got the Arsenal and Man City teams, and we're just going to move Arsenal, who had 11 men at this point, up the pitch. And what I want to show you in particular is the role of this guy, Declan Rice, who played to the right of Thomas Partey. Let me show you his average positions map, where you can see Yes, he played a huge cluster in that kind of left of the penalty area where he was defending. He did move to the left of Thomas Partey. We went to a 5-4 out possession, but in possession, he was attacking that space in the right channel. As you can see from the player influence map that we've got from StatZone, go download the app, it's fantastic. Declan Rice is playing again to the right of Thomas Partey, a lot more influence in this game and closer to Bukayo Saka. So how did that look and why did we do it? Well, I think we did it for a few reasons. First and foremost, if we go back to the tactical pad here, Declan Rice in this channel here, I think allowed for Trossard to play the areas in which he's best. I think Trossard just plays his best football undoubtedly in that central pocket right there, where he can sort of, well, be closer to goal, where he can play together and combine with the likes of Havertz and Martinelli. I don't think he's a touchline winger, and I think as a false nine, he can drift into that area, but I think that's where he's best. And it's funny because it's not really worked for Trossard as a left 8. Like, whenever he's been asked to do that, it hasn't worked. But that's often because he's done it with Ødegaard to his right. With Declan Rice potentially to the right, you've still got that balance of a 6 in Partey, a box-to-box in Declan Rice, and a more creative player in Trossard, but he's not playing it to the right, where Ødegaard would be. He's playing out actually on the left. So what does Rice give you in this area here? Well, I think it gives us a couple things. Firstly, if you give Saka the ball, I think it gave us an underlap to find Declan Rice, and he's on his stronger right foot to click, to cross that ball low into a Kai Havertz, or to look for the cut back to a Trossard who might be sort of waiting on the edge. I think there's a really nice balance there. I also think it meant that when Saka was, and we did see this, when Saka was driving at someone like Gvardiol with the ball, here we go, Declan Rice was able to make that sort of overlap and find that pocket as well, get the ball into the box. And I think it also meant that if Saka wanted to get into these more central spaces, Rice could be a little bit deeper and build up alongside Thomas Partey, and someone like Timber could get forward. And if you are going to have Saka really close to goal and you are going to have Timber bombing forward, well, Declan Rice is the perfect defensive cover in the area there too. So there was a real balance that Declan Rice brought to being the right central midfielder, and having that powerful run he does in him, having that sort of, lung busting capacity to get up and down the pitch and to underlap and overlap, that sort of endeavour to get forward and make things happen. I think being a right footer, he could be really comfortable on that side and get the best out of Trossard in that pocket. It could even work when Ødegaard returns. So I think the fact that we found a way to get Rice and Trossard quite comfortable in central midfield alongside Partey, who played his best football of the season against Man City, means that we don't have to rush Ethan Nwaneri into the team. But when you look at what Rice is doing there, it does make you think, well, Florian Wirtz could come in then and be either the Trossard on the left of the midfield 3, or even be in Declan Rice's position if we wanted to play with Rice as a 6 and have a Wirtz and an Ødegaard together. It wouldn't be surprising if Arteta went for sort of 2 10s in a midfield 3, because in pre-season against Man United, he did that with Ødegaard and Nwaneri either side of Jorginho in that friendly. So there's a lot of reasons why actually Wirtz is a good fit here, and you could see how the mixing up of our tactics in central midfield could allow for Wirtz to play with an Ødegaard, but you can also see why maybe it's just a touch too soon to actually go full throttle and throw Nwaneri into the 11, where actually we found a way to get Rice and Trossard playing some good football together, even though we only saw it for half against Man City. Hey, we ended the half 2-1 up at the Etihad and we were looking pretty good. So for the game against Leicester, I'm actually predicting that it's going to be Rice in the right of central midfield with Trossard returning to the 11 despite the red card, but I think Nwaneri will get some minutes off the bench, and I look forward to it. But as the season goes on, we'll develop more faith and more recognition as to what Nwaneri can do in this team, and the minutes will come. Throughout the week though, because this is also a bit of a news piece that I want to discuss, there's been a lot of conversation around Arsenal and just let's call it what it is, a lot of media nonsense, and in my opinion a lot of poor punditry in terms of actually analysing what Arsenal are doing well this season. Some people aren't impressed with the Arsenal start because they've dropped 4 points. Some people felt with 10 men we should have done more against Man City. Some people feel that actually we're too reliant on set pieces. And look, I'm not here to kind of pull apart all their arguments. They've got their opinions, and I think until Arsenal really build a lot of momentum and we see some of that real great attacking football come back, the questions are going to be there, and that's why there's pressure against Leicester this weekend to prove that we've still got the goals in us. But I do want to show you 2 bits of stats just to, I think, help Arsenal fans remember that we are on course, or we can be on course, or we don't have to stress too much despite what people are saying about us. This first one, that set piece goals and their Premier League rank for top clubs like Man City, Liverpool and Arsenal. As you can see, City, Liverpool and Arsenal have ranked really, really highly for set-piece goals over the last, 6 seasons that is, and Arsenal in the last 3 seasons, since they've become somewhat serious side, competing for either a top 4 place, and in the last 2 seasons competing for the Premier League title, we've been up there for set-piece goals. This notion that you don't win the Premier League title, by scoring from set pieces. You have to have so many different ways of getting goals, and of course, these are 3 of the most attacking sides, so they're more likely to get more goal kicks, also more corners, more set pieces, and therefore score more goals from set pieces. I get it, but it's an area that City and Liverpool haven't neglected. It's been a part of their armoury, and it's a part of Arsenal's too. So don't be fooled. If you want to look at the numbers in more detail, feel free to hit the pause button there. But don't be fooled. The fact that we are good at set pieces is a good thing, and is no indication that it's something we rely on, or it's something that, is kind of like our only way of attacking and breaking teams down. It is a good thing for us. The other thing I want to show you is that Arsenal's Premier League rank in terms of their attacking stats for last season. As you could see, we ranked highly for goals, 2nd place, 3rd for XG, 3rd for shots, 6th for passes, and in the top 3 for shot creating and goal creating actions. Arsenal haven't had problems scoring goals, and I don't see it being a major issue this season. Again, yes, we could do more firepower in the front line. Yes, I think we needed something really exciting in terms of a forward, but we've seen that Arsenal have the attacking patterns and the players to make things happen in the final third and hurt teams. Now, there's pressure against Leicester this weekend because we've had to play a particular way, and I think Arsenal fans like myself have been very forgiving of that because we understand the context of the last 4 or 5 games, not including Bolton. But now there's pressure to try and turn up the heat, play some attacking football, and yes, sod's law will be that I've sort of tried to praise what Arsenal have done from an attacking sense and told people not to worry, and we'll end up looking quite blunt against Leicester. But I've got faith in the team. I think they'll come out firing. I think they'll remind everyone that they can turn up the heat if they need to. Everyone, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you liked this video, and what would your starting 11 be for the weekend? Would Nwaneri be in there? And Florian Wirtz, do we need him? Let me know. Really interested on this one.